G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in. This video is not the video I wanted to be making this week, but I've decided to stop travelling for a bit and head back to Queensland earlier than I originally planned. And it comes down to probably two main things that are making it really hard for me to travel right now. So if you're new here, I'm Diane and I live full-time on the road in my Toyota Coaster bus with my dog Pepper. And we left Queensland back in December last year. It's now just after the Easter long weekend, so I think it's the 8th of April today as I'm filming this. So we've been on the road now for about 4 months. And my original plan was to travel for at least 6 months until June. And then I had to be back in Brisbane for some medical appointments. So if I stuck to that original plan, I would still have 7, maybe 8 weeks left before I had to be back there. But there's a few things going on at the moment that are really limiting how far and where I can travel. So the first challenge that I have is the weather. Now, if you've watched my videos for a while, you'll know that I don't handle heat very well. I don't like summer and I hate hot, humid weather. So since leaving Queensland back in December, I've done my best to avoid the hot weather and the heat waves that most of Victoria and New South Wales experienced this year. And so we've pretty much stuck to the area around the New England tableland in northern New South Wales, because up on the tablelands the temperatures are about 10 degrees cooler and it's just more pleasant and more comfortable, not just for me but for Pepper as well, because she feels the heat. So we've basically been travelling up and down the New England highway for the last 4 months and haven't ventured very far past that. We did go to the coast for a few days, which was really nice, but mostly we've been inland, staying up on the tablelands, and that's purely because it's cooler up here. And if I tried to venture further south or west, I would have hit temperatures in the mid to high 30s, and I just didn't want that. You know, and I thought that by now, it's April, I thought by now summer has officially been over for a month. We're well and truly into the middle of autumn now here in Australia. But, you know, we're still experiencing summer temperatures. And even this week, just a little bit west of here, as soon as I come down off the mountain, I'm going to be hit with temperatures of 35, 36 degrees. So, you know, the problem is if I was to stay on the road for the next few weeks, I'm not really sure where I would go. I could go a long way south to get into the cooler weather, but then I don't really have time to do that before I'd have to turn around and come back to go to my appointments and things that I have to do back in Queensland. I can't afford to go back to the coast because it's expensive. Campgrounds are expensive there, and I'm on a really low budget, so it's just not really an option for me. And it's just too hot at the moment to travel further inland. So I'm faced with, you know, probably having to sit on the tablelands for another week or so and hope that the temperatures will come down after that. To be honest, I'm a bit over sitting still. I've done that for the last few weeks, and while it's, you know, I enjoy traveling slowly and it's good to stay in one place and relax and recharge, I've got to the point where I'm really keen to travel more and explore more places. I mean, this is the whole reason I wanted to live in a bus, so that I could move around and see different things. And so I'm getting itchy feet, and it's really frustrating because I'm struggling to find, you know, I'm struggling to get a plan in place as to where I can go that's going to be comfortable enough to sightsee. I mean, there's no point me going to a town and then having to pay to stay in a caravan park so I can plug in and use my aircon because it's too hot to do anything. I mean, I may as well not bother going. So the weather at the moment I'm finding very frustrating, and it's definitely limiting. That, and in combination with the fact that I only have a limited amount of time left before I have to turn around and be back in Queensland, I am kind of restricted to northern New South Wales at the moment, and it's, yeah, I'm finding it very hard to find new places to go that are not super hot. So that's the first challenge that I'm facing. The second one is the big one that everyone's talking about now, and I'm not the only one that's struggling with this, and that, of course, is the cost of fuel. With the war in the Middle East that started a few weeks ago, fuel prices in Australia have just skyrocketed. I was paying on average about $1.80 a litre for the first few months of this trip. Fuel in this area is now well above $3 a litre, so it's almost doubled in some places, the cost of fuel. And I was already on a really low budget, and I only had like a small amount of money to spend on fuel each week. Now it's that amount of money is getting me, almost half the fuel that it was getting before. So that again limits how far I can travel. Because the reality for me is now I have about $100 to spend on fuel maybe each week. That will get me enough fuel to travel maybe 150 kilometers. Which isn't very far. And especially in this part of the country, you could travel 150 kilometers and not even get to the next town. I can't even travel that far if I then have to pay for campgrounds on top of that. So, it makes it really hard because I do only have 7 to 8 weeks before I had to be back in Queensland. And so, I could only travel for 3 or 4 weeks before I'd have to turn around and come back. And in those 3 or 4 weeks, I feel like I wouldn't be able to get very far. And when you combine that with the fact that it's still so hot in a lot of these areas, I don't have the budget or the time to travel as far as I would need to escape the hot weather. So hopefully the situation will improve. I get a lot of people telling me, well, it's fine. Yes, fuel's expensive. It's hard to get at the moment. But all you have to do is just park up for a while, sit in one place, even if you have to wait it out for 6 months, and then you can keep traveling after that. And that's all very well, and that might work for some people. A lot of people that are giving me that advice are people that have a regular fixed income, like they're on a pension or they have some other sort of income. So for them, it doesn't really matter if they sit and not travel for 6 months, because at the end of that 6 months, they can come back and just restart their travels. It's not like that for me. I, at the moment, have very little income. I have relaunched my stationery business, and I am starting to get orders coming back in for that, which is good. And I'm starting to make a little bit of money on YouTube, but it's not very much at the moment. And so I'm basically at the moment living off my savings. And I had enough money saved to give me a certain amount of time on the road. And my plan was in that time I was going to build up my income and hopefully sustain this lifestyle enough to keep traveling even after my initial savings had run out. But I only have this window to try out this full-time life on the road. My savings are a fixed amount. And so even if I'm staying in one place and not traveling, I'm saving a little bit of money because I'm not buying fuel and I'm not paying for campground fees, maybe if I can park up somewhere free. But I still have all my other expenses, and I'm probably still paying 3/4 of my weekly budget, even if I'm in one place. So parking up for 6 months for me means that, I'm still eating into my savings for 6 months. And at the end of that, I have a lot less time left that I can travel. So I'm kind of itching to keep traveling as much as I can because, this was my window that I planned to try out this lifestyle. I do feel a little bit disheartened, and I kind of feel like I've picked the wrong time to start traveling. But, it is what it is. And I have this window, and I'm just going to do my best to make the most of it. And that's the reason why I'm heading back to Queensland now, because I can get all of that stuff done while there is so much uncertainty and so many challenges for me on the road. And then hopefully once that's all sorted in a month or two, things will have settled down a bit. I'll have a clearer idea of the situation and what I can do. Now, I do want to say that this is not the end of my travels altogether. At least I hope it isn't. I do plan to get back on the road as soon as I can. And even though I'm going to be parked up for a month or two in Brisbane, I'm still going to be making videos. So I actually already have a couple of videos that I've already filmed that you'll see over the next week or two. And I also have some other videos that I've been wanting to make for a while. So this is a good opportunity to do those. I need to update you guys on some things that I've changed inside the bus since I did the original build. And I also want to talk about Pepper because I get a lot of questions about her, and just some everyday things about what it's like to live in a bus. So I do have some ideas for more videos that I want to keep making. So I'm still going to be putting out a video every week. There just might be a bit of a delay before I have another sort of specific travel destination video. If you guys have any questions or any particular topics that you want me to make a video about, let me know in the comments below, because this is a good chance for me to film those kinds of videos when I'm not specifically trying to film one location. I appreciate all you guys so much for being here, all of my subscribers, and especially to my channel members. Thank you guys for your support. I'm still going to be here producing videos for you every week, and hopefully it won't be too long before Pepper and I are back on the road and exploring new places.